Manaus é uma cidade realmente assim diferenciada das que eu conheço. A diversidade de animais que a gente pode ver aqui é incrível, né? Então aqui você pode, andando por um fragmento florestal, você pode ver uma preguiça real, você vê primatas de várias espécies, você vê répteis, jacarés, diferentes cobras.
Manaus é uma cidade incrível, uma cidade que está no coração da Amazônia, mas que ao mesmo tempo apresenta muitos problemas. Nós temos a maior cidade da Amazônia, cerca de 2.200.000 habitantes, e a cidade vem crescendo num ritmo muito rápido e sem o devido planejamento. Então nós temos enfrentado situações. O avanço do desmatamento, os habitats têm ficado mais desconectados, têm perdido qualidade ambiental. De alguns anos para cá, nós temos sofrido muito com as queimadas. Nós temos tido alguns aspectos relacionados às mudanças climáticas. Essas ameaças estão muito relacionadas ao avanço da cidade, ao avanço do desmatamento, às mudanças climáticas. E realmente a gente ainda está tentando entender como isso vem afetando as nossas espécies. Mas o que a gente tem percebido é que cada vez mais elas têm sofrido mais pressão e têm entrado em situações muito mais complicadas e muito mais difíceis de conciliar relacionadas à sua conservação.
Pied tamarins are a small callitrichid that is found in one small city area that is called Manaus, Brazil. They are a super interesting tamarin because overall, when you look at a callitrichid, which would be a tamarin or a marmoset, tamarins are normally easygoing, very social creatures. And the biggest difference between pied tamarins and other tamarin species is that they're kind of the spicy tamarin of the group. They're very social, they do well in their family groups, but they don't like to mingle with other species of tamarins. Pied tamarins in Manaus, Brazil have a few different obstacles that they are dealing with that is creating such a large decline in their population. One of the biggest things is they're dealing with fragmentation of their forests, where as the city expands, their forest area is getting cut down and they'll end up with just patches of forest area, which is what fragmentation is. And then to get from one patch to another patch of forest, they're having to go through a city area which has a lot of roads. Roads then bring in the danger of cars and motorcycles. And then will also have to come down onto the ground if they don't have trees to hop to. And there is a very large population of feral cats and dogs in Manaus. So then they have to contend with a predator of a cat or a dog that they may get attacked by. And also, when they're traversing, a lot of the times what they're using to traverse through the city are the power lines. And then they run the risk of electrocution from the power lines. So between those different items, it makes it pretty treacherous for them to travel around the city. Originally, Jeff Saylor, our president and CEO, brought this species to our attention because he has a different way of looking at what's going on in populations. If we can help a species that is struggling, he likes to go down that path.
Modern zoos have a lot of different roles. I would say the most important role they have is inspiring the public about wildlife and connecting them with nature. At the same time, because we have such expertise in animal care, there's a lot that we can do in terms of in situ and ex situ conservation.
So at that point, we stepped up and said Toledo would take on that program if they'd let us, and that I would become the coordinator of it so that we could continue to see if we could actually move the program back forward again rather than just let it phase out.
We were able to bring our resources to bear to actually have a workshop that allowed a convening of all of the stakeholders to come together and to talk about what needs to happen with these little monkeys. Being able to send our staff to Brazil to help explain sort of the best techniques and best practices for rearing marmosets and tamarins. How do you provide for both their mental and physical health? How do you provide for their nutritional health? And then what would you do with a compromised animal should you come across one? And this is where we can take experiences and skill sets that we've developed here, managing this unique population in the United States, and use it to help animals in the wild or animals that hopefully will return to the wild.
Bom, meu nome é Diogo, laborateria, eu trabalho aqui no CEPAM. Também é uma felicidade muito grande iniciar esse workshop aqui. Eu gostaria então de agradecer muitas pessoas que vieram de longe, né? A gente tem colegas que vieram da Inglaterra, da Holanda, dos Estados Unidos, passaram mais de 24 horas daí se deslocando até aqui, então agradeço a presença de todos. Agradeço a presença de todos que ajudaram na organização, né? O pessoal do IBAMA, Instituto Cassó, da UFAM. É importante a gente entender que a ideia desse workshop também é nos conhecermos, é nos integrarmos e, de alguma forma, fortalecer as ações para a conservação do sauim, né? É importante que vocês, né, já entendam que vocês são um papel muito importante no nosso município e a gente pretende contar com vocês.
O sauim-de-coleira, ele é uma espécie importante a ser preservada,
que é uma espécie importante no ponto de vista de que ela é uma espécie que transita da floresta primária para a floresta secundária, para as áreas de borda, áreas degradadas. Então, ele consegue transportar sementes, dispersa sementes das áreas preservadas para essas áreas secundárias, né? Mas tem o aspecto evolutivo e o aspecto ético, né? Simplesmente é uma espécie que só ocorre aqui nessa região. Tem toda uma história única, evolutiva, né? que merece ser respeitada, né? Então, uma espécie que tem o seu valor intrínseco, o seu valor como espécie. Os animais frequentavam o quintal da minha casa, frequentavam a universidade e eu comecei a ficar preocupado com a situação. Naquela época, mais ninguém estava trabalhando com essa espécie, nem fazendo pesquisa, nem conservação. Então, eu decidi que eu mesmo iria começar a fazer alguma coisa.
The Toledo Zoo right now is participating in some really awesome projects that are going on in Manaus. We are helping to fund a project where they are building bridges for these tamarins and for any species that comes across them and can utilize them. And then also we help with a program that is planting pied-specific, pied-friendly trees. And we got to meet with Marcelo while we were down there. He is the gentleman that is actually working these programs that we're helping. And he's been working with these pied tamarins for over 20 years. He's there and he's seeing the aftermath of if these pied tamarins are getting hit by cars or attacked by dogs. And he's moved forward with these bridges and done a really good job with it.
Para a conservação. Para pesquisa, temos várias pesquisas que vão dar suporte importante, né? Pesquisas com saúde, né? Com parasitas e tal, que vão nos ajudar. Mas, de imediato, medidas de conservação, uma é restauração dos ambientes, usando as mudas, restaurando as florestas, né? Enriquecendo as florestas e formando corredores ecológicos. A outra é a construção de passagens de fauna, passagens de copa de árvore, porque possibilita de maneira imediata os animais atravessarem sem ser atropelados, né? Porque com as árvores, às vezes demora 10 anos, 15 anos para conseguir formar os corredores, e com a passagem de fauna, isso é imediato, né? Essa possibilidade. E a terceira forma de atuação do projeto, negociando e tendo uma boa relação com diferentes instituições que são importantes para tomadas de decisão. Temos informações, né, de ter visto os animais atravessando. Coletamos já algumas informações com armadilhas fotográficas, né? Nós temos as estatísticas, os dados de atropelamentos aqui dentro da estrada do campus, que é o local que a gente consegue monitorar por muitos anos. E temos as datas em que começamos a instalação das passagens. Então os atropelamentos estão diminuindo com isso. E continuam acontecendo, mas geralmente em locais novos, onde eles não atravessavam. Os locais onde eles morriam antes já não morrem mais, já diminuiu o atropelamento. Eles vêm atravessando as passagens de fauna, então são muito efetivas.
The main reason we went down was to offer our expertise to those that are caring for the pied tamarins in captivity there that have ended up at the rehab stations. Coral ended up really talking on how to enrich them and how to change up their environment. And then I took the other side of it where I wanted to show what the staff's roles were going to be, keeping the health of those animals a priority.
Nós estamos no Centro de Triagem de Animais Silvestres do IBAMA. É um centro, uma unidade dentro do IBAMA responsável por receber, né, tratar, identificar e destinar animais silvestres, né? Esses animais, eles são provenientes de várias situações de risco na área urbana ou na área rural, animais vítimas de atropelamento, animais vítimas de eletrocução, animais que eram anteriormente criados como animais de estimação. O nosso primeiro objetivo é devolvê-los, quando possível, ao ambiente de onde eles vieram. Se não for possível, a gente trata para eles serem destinados para cativeiro, e aí eles podem, de alguma forma, contribuir com a conservação ex situ dessas espécies, né?
We got to speak quite a bit to Natalia and a fair amount of her staff during the week that we were there. She's proud of her staff and really wanted to show that even though they have very little resources, they're doing as much as they can for the animals there. And she stressed the fact that she works with everything. So it was very impressive to meet her and to see how dedicated they are to what they're trying to do at that center. By providing the information to expand the skills of the people in Brazil, getting them really comfortable with those skills of how to care for them in the moment and get them back to a good emotional state and physical state, that will get them back into the wild in a better condition. Even if they just got them healthy and put them back, if they didn't meet the other needs and didn't know how to meet those other needs, then there's a good chance that animal might not survive back in the wild. So by us being able to give them the full skill set themselves or resources to find out what they needed, then that's going to help that animal when it comes through their facility to get back out into the wild healthily.
Right now, they don't have an ideal place to bring in pied tamarins. And with the help of funding, they are building and growing and building an actual tamarin-friendly space that they will be able to bring in tamarins.
So Tamarin Trust is a very new charity. It was only set up last year, and it specifically is to provide funds for conservationists working in the front line for the conservation of tamarins and marmosets, but also to support workshops so we can build capacity in country for working with these rare tamarins, but also provide research grants for students, work with local authorities and government bodies to help set up the correct legislation so we can protect some of the last areas for the marmosets and tamarins. Well, what we're doing here is saying, let's build the specialisation on the front line here with what we know here, and let's fund that and keep it going. The most important thing, I think, is to get really enthusiastic people who really want to fight for the species. It's creating a group of specialists that are going to ultimately save this species. And if you can form a group that's going to fight with one plan, you're more likely to have a success, aren't you? And if you can fire that enthusiasm in them to believe that they can win, you're more likely to win. And we hope to come back and again until we see big improvements on the ground for these guys and their pied tamarin.
Getting us to a place where people in Brazil have the skills necessary to do the rehabilitation. They have the ability to keep tamarins alive. They have the ability to create breeding colonies of them in Brazil, that those animals then could be re-released into the environment. That's what's critical for us. If we can reach that critical skills level, then we can begin to look for the next species that needs help. But in the end, the goal is for us to build skills, build capacity within this country, and then let them take the tamarins to that end goal, get them across that finish line, and get them sustainable and secure within Manaus.
Getting the message out to anyone is important, but the youth especially, they're absorbing all that knowledge and really think outside the box on how to save. These kids are going to grow up to be our next scientists, our next conservationists, and not only save the species like the pieds, they're going to save everything.
This program has solidified for me why I came into this field. This project embodies what zoos are about. We are not here just to put animals on display. The purpose and why we're here is to educate and to help their counterparts in the wild. We would really like to thank all the people in those organizations that are putting in so much legwork for this species. We gain so much from being there, make these connections, and learn about all the wonderful things that they're doing on the ground as well. For everyone back at home, being a part of the family that is the Toledo Zoo and supporting us as a community, we're able to do these things and to get more involved. You're helping us move not only towards a mission in our day-to-day job at the Toledo Zoo and to make the Toledo Zoo great, but you're helping us outside to really make a footprint in what we're able to do to help these species out where they're naturally found.
This nature, trees providing us oxygen. This is the machine that makes life habitable on this planet. We look after the trees and the nuts and bolts in the system, and a pied tamarin, I would argue, is an important nut and bolt in that machine. We keep the life support system going for us. So it's in our best interest to protect everything we've got here.
Então, a gente vive numa cidade que às vezes a gente passa horas no trânsito, mas ao mesmo tempo que a gente está parado num congestionamento, passa um grupo de araras ou você ouve os papagaios cantando. Então, nós ainda estamos, digamos assim, em condições de ter uma cidade que respeite a natureza, e para isso a gente precisa trazer as pessoas para essa causa. Nós precisamos fazer as pessoas entenderem que elas são parte do problema, mas elas são parte da solução. Nós precisamos que as pessoas entendam que cuidar do meio ambiente é cuidar das pessoas. E as pessoas são as que têm o principal papel de conservação. O futuro da humanidade, o futuro da Amazônia, depende das decisões que nós estamos tomando agora.